That's
Yeah.
what the problem is. He thinks he says he built it right. It's just visually it doesn't look very nice.
Right.
But that was his choice.
Call the roll.
Okay. Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Here.
Councilman Best,
Present.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Present.
Councilman Petrolanda, Mayor Bain.
Here. Uh, um, Please stand for invocation. Councilwoman Zapata.
Dear Lord, as we gather here this evening to listen to the concerns and support the issues presented to us by residents of this beautiful city, let nothing else but our sense of ethics guide our decisions tonight. Amen.
Right hand over your heart, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, hats off. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have a presentation from the Little League. Are you here?
I don't see any little leagues.
Fred Garcia? Nothing.
Probably not.
And then we have Yard of the Month.
Gotta send it to him.
Your Yard of the Month?
I just remember.
Are you Richard? Come on up. Right in the middle.
Richard did the work.
What? You're here to take the.
But you supervised it, right? I knew it.
And getting the awards too.
Okay, this is a certificate recommendation presented to Richard Marquez and Martha Nadell. You're not any relation to Rafael Nadell.
No,
The-
I wish I was.
Yeah, I wish you were too.
I know.
He could come here and give us some money for the center or something, okay? 1290 Dove
Oh,
Avenue.
wait, there's Richard.
Come on,
This is the guy, really.
okay.
Another guy.
Well, I'm glad you can make it. Because she was taking all her credit and she did all the work and you don't, and you don't do anything, she said.
That's not true.
I know it. We know
I
that.
supervise.
Wait till it's on the record, so it's on the record. Yard of the Month, February 2020, presented the 27th day of January 2020. And this is for y'all to put on your wall.
Perfect.
And congratulations. Thank you. And I guess what I want to know, do you guys do all your own work on this?
Yeah. We do it all.
Okay. And how long you been in Miami Springs?
Over 30 years.
And me 4 months.
I'm not going to ask any more questions. This will make no sense to me now. 4 months you've been here?
Yeah.
And you did all that work to get
No,
to...
I did, but
now I
years
know
ago-
who she
3
does.
years ago, her property.
Oh, okay.
But my property, about 4 months ago, I just redid it. So.
Okay.
I just moved him here.
Okay. I got you. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you all can make it.
It's right behind my house. 30 Alley.
Oh, wow.
1216 Ibis.
Okay, there you
1209 Dove. Yeah.
Well,
right
there
there.
you go.
Okay, we open up to open forum. This is where people wish to speak. Wally Clark.
Wallace Clark, 570 Plover Avenue. This is my 60th year being a photographer. Been working in Miami Springs and or living, or both, for about 40 years. I've known everyone on the council for decades, except Jaime, 1 decade. He's the only one that replies to my emails. I was recently refused permission to go to the daddy-daughter dance. I shot the first one decades ago, and I go whenever I can. I'm not allowed to go and take pictures and post them on my Facebook page, which is a publication. I wrote about this situation last Friday, and I received over 6,000 replies, or reached over 6,000 people, thousands more from other topics. It's my publication. I have 3 of them. Since Thanksgiving, I've reached over 50,000 people. City Manager Alonso says I'm a private citizen, whatever his definition is. And the Gazette will take beautiful pictures like the people are used to. Are you kidding me? If a dad is a private citizen and goes to daddy-daughter and he's a photographer, will he be not allowed to take pictures? Where's the logic here? He said the Parks and Recreation employees made that decision and he agreed 100%. I'd like the names of the Park and Recreation people that said I can't attend. Let's see who's a friend, who's an acquaintance. Everyone that works for the city knows that nothing is done without the city manager's permission. They're all afraid to even talk to me. I can say, oh, Public Works, when did that tree fall? I can't talk to you. Really? I was the unofficial city photographer for Miami Springs for almost 30 years. 30 years. Then I ran against Mayor, against Xavier. He won. I wrote a letter of complaint against Ron Gorland. He became city manager. He was assistant. So I never worked for the city again. Is it quality or is it price? I was never asked. So what is the other reason they wouldn't hire me? City used to say, oh, we hire local. Not anymore, because it's me. You understand? So if it's not quality, it's not price, it must be me, right? Isn't that unethical? I think so. I also threatened to sue the city because someone in the city gave my pictures without my permission to a book publisher and they were published. I settled with the city for about $4,000. This is like 8 or 10 years ago. I don't know. Seems the city agreed it made a mistake because it paid me. City Manager Alonso is carrying on the traditions set by Gorland. You all know it's personal. Over the last 10 years, I've asked council members, why am I not hired? Council one had, as I said, had a policy to hire local. But nobody answered me. You never did. The city manager works at the will of the council. He works for you. You can fire him. He can do nothing to you. Therefore, anything he decides is at the will of the council if you know about it and do nothing. You accept bad portraits, come on. But you're afraid to say anything to the city manager because you know why he doesn't hire me. I'm asking all council members to call me or email me or stop by my house and tell me to my face why I shouldn't be allowed to go to the daddy-daughter dance. It's a matter of courtesy, respect, and ethics. I will ask for legal opinions on the city's bias, discrimination, and ethics violation. And I'll ask that the city attorney, who I consider a friend, recuse himself from this. Bottom line is, I'm going to the daddy-daughter dance. If I'm asked to leave, I'm not going to leave. If they call the police and have me arrested, so be it. Because I will be arrested and I'll deal with it because it would obviously be the will of the council. And I'll make sure everyone knows. Thank you.
Carlos, did he leave? The gentleman that was there? He left? Okay, that closes open forum. We go to 6A, January 13, 2020, regular council meeting. I entertain a motion.
Through the chair, motion to move 6A, sir.
I'll second it.
Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Best.
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda. Mayor Bain.
Yes, we go to 7, reports from commissions. None. We go to a public hearing. Case 05V19.
Mr. Mayor and Council, real quick, both of these items are quasi-judicial items, so we'll have the clerk swearing anyone that's going to speak on the item.
Okay. Who's-
Anyone speaking on the item, please stand and raise your right hand.
Anybody? Yeah, I can't see. Anybody here that's representing the case? You are? No. Okay.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to be presenting on behalf of Christopher Hyder, City Planner. He's very sorry he couldn't be here tonight to present these two cases to you. So the first case is case 05B19.
Yeah.
The applicants and property owners Alexander Patino at 689 Eastward Drive, zoned R1B single-family residential. The request is the applicant is seeking an after-the-fact variance in accordance with section 150013B2 in order to retain a fence that exceeds by 2 1/2 feet the maximum permitted front yard height, which is 3 1/2 feet. The property is a corner lot and rectangular in shape with a width of 75 feet on De Leon Drive and a depth of 142 feet on Eastward Drive with a total 10,650 square feet of land. The applicant is requesting a variance to retain the 6-foot wood fence constructed without a building permit along De Leon Drive. The address is the address in the city zoning code, the narrowest part of the lot, which would be the front yard. In this case, the location of where the fence was built at 6 feet. As many corner properties in the city, the corner side yard of the subject property is treated as the front yard, with the address, the front door, the driveway, carport, everything in that location, which would be, in this case, would be their side yard on Eastward Drive. The treatment of De Leon Drive as a portion of the property is appropriate. We believe so. The location of the 6-foot tall fence is in the technical corner side yard facing Eastward Drive, which would be allowed, would actually wouldn't look too good. The project received favorable recommendations in the Board of Adjustments meeting on November 4th, 2019, with a unanimous vote of 4-0, and it's recommended by the city's planning department that the variance be approved with the following 5 conditions: that plans are submitted to the building department with the survey and a site plan of the fence, that the permit be applied for and issued within the first year. If it doesn't happen, they can request for a 6-month extension through the council. That they plan to hedge on the outside of the 6-foot fence, excluding the gate, to grow up to 6 feet in height. If approved, the final order, including any conditions upon which the approval is granted, shall be incorporated on a cover sheet of the plan submitted to the building department. And lastly, the maximum fence height is actually in the front yard, is now being treated as the side yard. For that purpose, the variance request shall be 42 inches. That's all from me for this particular case.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. No.
If you want to hear from the applicant and then open up for public hearing, I'll just add that this is one of the classic issues of that frontage situation, where because of the narrow portion of their lot, their side yard is treated as their front yard, but for all intents and purposes, it's their side yard. We've talked about trying to come up with a policy solution for it to bring to all of you for your consideration. It's just that we can't seem to get to the bottom of different types of situations where this comes up and it's treated differently. So we keep on saying, unfortunately, they have to come forward with variances, but we haven't been able to find a silver bullet that makes it so these folks don't have to come forward.
Through the chair, I'd be interested in hearing, I don't know about my colleagues, but I'd be interested in hearing the applicant.
Well, if he wants to speak. Do you want to speak, Tom? Thank you, sir.
The city attorney says that everybody is talking about on the city that the cost is too low on Miami City for the corner house. I think so that we need to get agreement with everybody or up to you guys and found a solution for everybody on the city because the only one person is involved in maybe variance every day or whatever, and he says maybe you can work out and found better for each side, for the city department and for the neighbors that we live in here on Miami Springs. Okay? And about the fence, the only I'm trying to is modify that the Leon logo on the sides of my house. The fence was built for only reason for safety for my baby and clear doors and my neighbor has the pool is pretty deep. This is the only reason that I build the fence on this property. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Anybody here wish to speak on this item?
I have a question.
Well, wait, I've got a public hearing here. Let me close the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, I close the public hearing. We'll consider discussion. You have the floor.
Thank you. Have there been any complaints from neighbors about the approval of this?
No, we have not received any complaints in my department regarding the
Okay.
fence.
All right, that's all.
Okay.
Through the chair, so this was a pre-existing condition that was cited by the city on a surveillance run kind of thing?
Yes, it was actually me who noticed it.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have a few questions, Mayor. Robert, when somebody, this is noticed after the fact, so what happens? I know he's asking for a variance for us to approve it, but what happens when, after the fact, we notice that somebody did something without a permit?
Well, we inform them that maybe they didn't know that it was required to have a permit for that type of work, so we inform them of that. We offer whatever services we can offer here to help them get a permit, and if they do, well, it'll be legalized and we move on.
Is there a fine or anything for
No,
building?
I haven't fined them. There hasn't been a fine issue. It only gets to a fine once there's been complete, neglect of the property owner in regards to the case.
Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to mention with the city attorney, it seems like we go through these a lot. Is it possible to just consider, or I guess I'm guessing you've probably considered it, but make it so that the property, because I know with the boat recently and all these, when the house has a certain address and faces the street, it's only logical that that is the front of the house, regardless of, the width. We have very irregular properties all through Miami Springs, and we keep going through that. So I'd like to ask that we could see why we can't just make the front of the house, where the house faces is the front of the house, where the address is, and get rid of this antiquated idea of, if the one lot is longer than one side of the house is longer than the other, then that's the front of the house. It just doesn't make sense.
We haven't been able to find the legislative intent. Best we can tell is that, considering that Miami Springs was planned out as a garden style, you can basically stand on one side of the block and look down the front yard setback of every home, and you'll see, presumably most of the time landscaping. We're not the kind of community where we have a lot of fencing up to the property line. The moment that you have these properties where they were platted a certain way, but they've either planned to go the other way, meaning the frontage is on the side, or it's become that over time, because there's some homes that literally may have had an address on one side, but their front is on the other. This fence now obstructs that. That's the only thing that we can see that wasn't potentially a policy intent behind why not to permit these side yards to be treated like every other side yard. We can look at things. I mean, for example, the fence thing we've talked about, that maybe one of those issues that repeats itself the same way with the right mitigation can be a fence, and we'll see that over and over again. The boat is one where, for example, the boat that ultimately came forward with that variance was a bay boat that was small, and you could put it in the fence, and once the hedges get up to 6 feet, you're not going to really see it. But if we make it as a matter of course and someone brings in a 31-foot contender with a tower and everything else, then all of a sudden you have an issue. So we're just trying to find where the line is so that residents get the relief that they want without going over and creating a circumstance that we can't undo after the fact.
I want to say that the variance process in these particular cases is a good process, because nobody wears the same size shoe. So I think that it's good to get these things like this, and maybe as time goes on, because I think in this tenure, I can't remember, but not more than 5 variances. We talked about this in a long time.
Well, through the chair, I seem to remember the first one was the one on Oriole, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, but I mean,
Oriole and
so
Ludlam?
I'm not, if something could come up, I know that you're not gonna, with the different size of the yard, you're not gonna come up with something that's gonna be a standard. So
Yeah.
do the best you can. I agree with the councilwoman if you can, but I think the variance process is a good one here. So I think sometimes council gets to see what's going on in the community instead of it out, and we don't get to see what's going on sometimes, and maybe we might not have approved what they did in the first place in these type of situations.
I don't want to get too far ahead. One thing that we're possibly considering is somewhere in the middle, which is an administrative variance. We don't have too many of those, but essentially it would allow, it wouldn't have to come to all you.
I would be,
And then essentially Chris would have the ability to still make those kinds of one-size-fits-all decisions without,
I would not go for that. Me personally, I don't know the rest of the council. I'd rather
Work
this
its way
is our
through.
job. I think it's our job
Okay.
to see it. That's my opinion. I mean, I don't know what everybody else
And I
thinks.
agree with what the mayor's saying. I'm just saying
So do
perhaps
I.
the default should be that, you know, where your property faces and what you think is the front of the yard is the front of your house, because we've had numerous, at least since I've been here, of several of owners who are surprised to find out that their house address and the street that they face is considered the side of their yard.
Right.
This
and that shouldn't be the
this
case.
particular house was built with the front yard facing the side yard. There's been other houses that they changed the location of their front yard from their actual front yard
right, I
to
know.
their side yard, and there's nothing in the code that prohibits them from doing that. So-
Okay, we have anything else to discuss?
I have a couple of questions. Is there enough space between the fence and the sidewalk for them to plant?
Yes, there is enough space. They've actually already started planting some hedges. I passed by, and they started planting already.
How long ago did you build that fence? Was it you or you bought the house and the fence was already there?
About 10 months.
So when you built it, the person who built it didn't tell you that you couldn't go that high? I mean,
On those days, I'm the new owner. We bought the house
Come to the microphone, please. You gotta come to the microphone.
weeks before, and you know, I ask somebody, and they says, no, you can build because you don't have to get permit or whatever. The same day, maybe past 2 or 3 days, Robert come to house, says, hey guys, something wrong. And the next day and morning, I was on the office and talking to the guys because I myself, I'm inspector of the aviation department. You know, that means that we need to get the rule and respect the rules. But I didn't know, and it was my fault, but I'm trying to fix it.
I'm asking you, not you, the person that actually put the fence up.
We built myself.
Oh, you built the fence yourself? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay? Okay, call, I would entertain a
Mr.
motion.
Through the chair, Mr. Patino, while you're up there, if I might ask, did it occur to you to maybe come to City Hall and ask if this was okay to do? Maybe English, the translation?
On those
No.
moment not, because
Okay.
we had some issue with the realtor, because the guys, they try to sell the property and they talk to you many things that, oh, you can do that, no, you can paint, you can remove, you can.
Well, that's kind of where I was going with this, where what the origin was. Yeah.
That was my fault, and I said, when I knew about that something was wrong, the next day and morning, I was with Robert. Hey, Robert.
Yeah, I've never seen somebody so
Yeah, I'm the owner of the property. What happened? What to fix? What to do? And we start figure out. And right now we're here.
Gotcha.
And I think it's complicated by the fact of our, you know, the longest length is the side of the front of the house, all this. I'm gonna pass a motion to
Wait, I
approve.
have one more
Can we-
question.
oh, I'm
real
sorry.
quick. Robert, is there a height on the shrubs or the?
Yeah.
Currently, there are no height limitations for hedges, but on in a corner lot, you would need to have a 20-foot separation on each side, so that you don't obstruct view. But in this case, I've inspected the area both on eastward and on De Leon. I don't see an obstruction for anybody driving.
I'm talking about the height.
Yeah, there is no height
No height,
limitation,
okay.
but we are limiting him to the 6 feet of
Right.
the fence.
You just want to cover the fence?
Yes.
Okay. That's all, man. Thank you.
Go ahead.
The edge is already done. One the inch, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Did he do a good job putting the fence up?
So it's gonna go through inspection.
Through the chair, I think this is, again, one of those cases where the city did their due diligence. They exercised the law. But we have that gray area, don't we? We always do in some of these issues. And I don't think you and your family should be cited either for lack of knowledge relative to, although I would have thought perhaps you would have consulted the city before you proceeded in building the fence unilaterally. I mean,
He learned his lesson.
thank you, Mr. Patino. I appreciate it. Gracias.
Mayor, motion to, I am in agreement with the Board of Adjustment, the favorable
Motion to
recommendations
approve the variance.
approve, and the city planner.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Call a vote.
Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. Finish up with Robert and get it all the way, you know. I don't want to see you here again.
I'd like to see him here again.
No, you can come visit, but I don't want to see you here.
Not over that, right?
Okay, we go to 8B, case 01V-20. That's you, Robert. You still got it.
Me again.
Robert, you're doing a good job. First time.
Oh, thank you.
Always.
First time he's presented.
He always does a good job, though.
So Mayor and Council, this is case 01B20. Applicant Sergio Gonzalez, property owner of 701 Wren Avenue, a property zoned R1C single-family residential in the city of Miami Springs. The applicant is seeking site plan approval and a variance in order to construct an accessory structure, in this case a Cheeky Hut, in the rear yard. The variance requested is as follows. Section 150.043 of the city zoning code to waive 8 feet of the minimum required distance. Currently, all accessory structures need to be 10 feet apart from each other. In this case, where the location of the pool is and the location of where they would fit the Cheeky Hut, they would be 8 feet encroaching into that 10-foot setback.
So you're off 2 feet, is that what it is?
Yeah, so that's why we're asking for a 8 feet waiver, because they're 2 feet apart.
They're 2
Wait,
feet away.
we're waiving 2 feet,
2 feet.
not
Yeah.
8 feet. We're waiving.
No, they're supposed to be 10 feet apart. They're 2 feet apart.
They're only 2
We're waiving 8 feet.
8 feet.
Okay.
The property is a corner parcel, rectangular in shape, with a width of 66 feet on Wren Avenue and a depth of 124 feet on Shadow Way, for a total size of 8,324 square feet. The applicant is proposing the construction of a Cheeky Hut, measuring 12 feet by 23 feet for a total size of 276 feet. The hut would be located to close proximity of the existing storage shed, as I mentioned, but it meets all zoning requirements. If that shed wasn't there, they meet their side setback, the setback from the main structure, which is 10 feet, and the rear setback. The analysis has been that the Cheeky Hut would be a welcomed addition to this particular yard, proving a shady area after they've, used the pool or they want to entertain. We don't foresee any impact to the adjacent property. The property, this case was reviewed favorably and with a recommendation of approval from the Board of Adjustments on January 6, 2020, with a unanimous vote of 4-0. It is the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning, the Planning Department, that we request an approval for this variance, with the following 4 conditions: that the plans are submitted to the Building Department for review and approval, that any variance granted to City Council be done within the first year, with a 6-month extension should they not be able to fulfill it within that first year. If approved, the final order, including any conditions upon which the approval is granted, shall be incorporated on a cover sheet of the plan submitted to the building department for permitting, and the Cheeky Hut will remain open on all sides, so it would not be, you could not enclose it ever. The hut shall remain open on all 4 sides and never enclosed. Again, they will not be required to go through the building department for construction purposes because they are waived through the tribe. So this is only a zoning matter.
Right, gotcha.
Mayor, real quick, it would be, is that correct?
They have to go through, they have to apply for permit, but they don't
Right,
have
right,
to.
but you keep saying would be. That tiki hut is up already.
At the moment that it was brought up to the zoning board, it was not constructed. Through the approval process, they started the construction and they did,
finished.
they finished it. Similar to the previous case of the fence where they had, you know, they
But
had,
he came to us and they started.
It seems like it,
he,
yes.
He didn't come at all. He didn't know. These people came, just built it without getting the
they,
permit.
they requested a variance
Right.
for
They
the
built it.
construction. And then they, Officer Noble from the Code Compliance Department noticed that it was built and it brought it, and created a case and brought it to the attention of the department, yeah.
Okay. We'll hear from the applicant. Excuse me?
He needs an interpreter.
That's a problem.
Neighbor can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he has to be sworn in first.
yeah, and we can't do it because it's a quasi judicial matter.
You can't. Okay.
Can't do it.
But he has somebody
Serve as
that
an
can
interpreter.
interpret for him.
No,
But he can bring his own.
he'd
yeah.
bring his own, but you guys gotta be sworn in. They didn't stand up and get sworn in.
No, they weren't.
Come on up,
Levanta la
if you're
mano
gonna do
derecha,
it.
por favor. Voy a decir en inglés. Lo voy a decir en inglés. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Can you talk for him that, or he's gonna talk first? Go ahead, go ahead.
Try,
Take your
the
time.
problem is I got in stroke a month ago, so, and my little,
You're doing fine.
yeah, okay. And I do a lot of construction in property, coming in 1 year in February, and highway, I do a terrace, so, and I need the ticket up. We tried to pull this permit for September, but we got a lot of inconvenience to make it. So last 22, we got a meeting here, and the board, they say it's okay, we're waiting for the council to approve it.
Okay.
So I try to make the corner beautiful, and we need the tiki to rest after the pool, so that's why we try to make it. The shelter we don't use it for nothing. You put something inside like tables. It's more hard to tear off because have a slab, concrete slab, ceiling. Very hard to tear off.
Yeah.
So the tiki come 2 feet from the shelter, but we got a 14 feet from the house, and the tiki I don't think create a problem. It's what we figured out. So you got your law, your rules. I need to see you can help me. Okay.
Thank you. Okay?
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna open up for the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak on this item? Go ahead. To the microphone.
Good afternoon. My name is Oscar Garcia. I reside at 700 Ren, which is directly in front of Sergio Gonzalez property. And what he said was correct. I mean, once he moved in, he really beautified the neighborhood in this corner. Not like the neighbors before did a bad job, but he really took it to another level. If you drive by, it's been recognized by many of my friends and my, people that we speak to in our community. So he's done a wonderful job at doing the construction, and it's a high quality job, and I think it just adds the value to the neighborhood. And so this tiki hut and an atmosphere where I can probably go with my children and enjoy would be really beneficial. And so I would like to just say that I agree that I hope that he would be able to get this tiki hut just because of the wonderful job he's done so far.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing, and we'll go to discussion.
Yeah, through the chair, I recognize the intent of what the city tries to accomplish in setting these standards for the back, and that being clutter. Clutter. In other words, too much. Trying to put too much in a small space, right? And in this particular case, I'm thinking out of the box here, but maybe a safety issue because it's a cheeky hut and it's organic and it's next to a shed and there could be, that kind of stuff. However, the fact that you're here tonight and the fact that I've driven by and looked at the property and seen it with my eyes, and I'm sure my colleagues have as well, And based on the recommendation of the Board of Adjustment, which I highly value, I believe I'll make a motion that we approve this.
All right. Can I have a second?
I second.
Okay, discussion.
Can I speak to him?
It's discussion.
Yeah.
Señor, si usted sabe que usted pone techo, ¿verdad?
Sí, señor.
Usted sabe que hacen falta.
Wait a minute. I think he can
I'm on-
understand in English.
What I'm asking him, I'm going to
He's gonna say
translate
it
it
in
in
both
English.
languages.
I'm going to say it in both languages.
I understand.
But he understands English.
If you know that you install roofs, you work in construction.
Yes, sir.
If you know that you have to get a permit before you do the job, why would you do it? Why wouldn't you do that?
No, this is some.
Come.
Coming last, we had this paper for 5 months.
So what was occurring was that when we first got that approval, or he had said that the proposal he was going with the that it was initially approved, and then it was put in the hospital for a couple days, and during that process, I guess the started leaking.
Un malentendido con el contratista, porque son los indios.
I understand what happened.
I'm not 100% familiar with the case. It's Officer Novel's case. I was just informed today that it was actually completed. I was just here for the site plan approval.
I understand.
So you're 2 feet away from the property next to you.
No.
No, from the
The
shed.
shelter. He meets all setbacks except for
He
his
m-
own.
He meets, if the shed was not there, he could place it there. The only thing impeding it is the shed. He has 8.5 feet from the side yard. He has 14 feet from the main house and has over 15 feet from the rear setback.
So what's the problem? The shed then?
The shed,
There's a
because
shed there. I saw it.
you're only allowed 2 accessory structures in any one single family home. He has 2 with the tiki hut in the shed, but they all have to be 10 feet apart from each other and from the main structure of the home, like the main home.
Okay, that explains. Thank you, Mayor.
I think what happened you got to ask the case guy, but it seems to me like he thought it was conditionally going, it was 5 months ago that this was brought to the board, and we're getting it now?
No, this was in
November,
Yeah.
I think.
November?
Right.
December?
I mean, we tell everybody that that it's a recommendation of the board and it's going to be
But I
going to
think
the council. but-
sometimes maybe
yeah.
there's misinterpretation here. I got a first and second. Any discussion? Call a vote.
Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Fest,
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Yes.
Councilman Pedro
Yes.
Mayor Bing.
Yes. Good job.
Mayor, could I ask if 12A could be moved up, because the ecology board members are here, so they don't have to.
Well, first of all, there's something else I'll tell you. Yeah, they can come up. I'll grant your, like you
Thank
did
you.
for me
Thank
last
you.
week.
Football game?
Yeah, they can come up. I grant it to you. Yeah, not just
A
a
football game.
It was the national
I
championship.
could have told you who was going to win, Clemson or
Just-
LSU.
Come on up, 12A, come on up. Yeah, I don't get no credit.
Are they asking questions? Are we just talking?
Well, I don't know why you had to come up, but
I don't
your
know.
your councilwoman here wanted you
No,
to
I
come up.
wanted to move it forward, because so they wouldn't have to wait till
But
then.
I mean, they don't. All we're here is make a presentation of what you're trying to do.
All right, good evening. My name's Wendy Anderson. I'm the chair of the Ecology Board for quite some time. Been on the board for a while. So we've been talking about doing an eco restaurant on the month. It's very similar to how the Yard of the Month Club would work to try to encourage, good practices in Miami Springs at our local restaurants, such as green offerings for food, using better carryouts like, paper and plastic paper straws instead of styrofoam and stuff. Also trying to reduce pollution and, use energy more efficiently. So that's kind of what we're here, and we just wanted to let everyone know about it. And
There's no obligation.
No, no
Okay,
obligation.
it's-
No,
it's
it's
all voluntary.
voluntary. It's
Voluntary.
voluntary.
And who-
Quarterly though, because we don't want to run out of restaurants.
Quarterly, yeah.
Yeah, because we have a lot of them, right?
So quarterly, he's talking about 4 times a year.
That's it.
And who's going to judge this? How are you going to do the research to know that they're doing this?
Well, this
if
is
you're
the
not
plan.
on site.
That one member of the ecology board can visit each of the restaurants that submit their descriptions for consideration and choose the restaurant of the month. Luckily, I dine out in Miami Springs pretty frequently. But we're going to send a different person, each quarter, and then we can discuss it at our annual, quarterly,
So
non-annual
so
meetings.
you're going to hit all the restaurants every quarter?
No, whichever one's
Well, I mean,
interested.
but what if there's 10 of them? How are you going to judge 10 of them?
Hmm?
Understand?
So they can they could submit a letter if they're interested in participating, and then we can go judge. Only if they're interested, and residents could also nominate.
That's all right. So through the chair, so in order to kick off this program, you're going to need an initial city input to the community through our release.
Through social media, through something like that.
To get it off the ground, and
exactly,
then
to get it started.
And then every time there's a judgment, to have a thing in there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mayor, may I? I think this is a major underachievement by you folks. If you want to do it, it's a beautiful thing. The only thing I read what you're all proposing. I think, in my opinion, the only thing you're weak on is if you win. Yeah, if you win, you're just gonna, from what I'm reading, all you want is the city to put up the name of the restaurant on the website.
We'll bring them here. We'll bring them here and give them a certificate of
Yeah, like the yard of the month,
Yeah,
exactly.
like
Get
that.
them some recognition.
What do you want
But-
to give them money, Jaime?
No. Well, let me finish.
Loan me $50.
Man.
You want to budget money for this
No,
program?
man. I mean, maybe we can reach out to Senator Diaz and Representative Avila so they can put it also on their website, maybe in the state website.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's
right?
what you should do.
I mean,
That's
I
what
don't
you
want
should do.
money, you see? If you just let me finish.
I'm not too sure about that.
You're welcome.
Awesome,
But
yes,
I think
yes.
you're weak on
Who appointed you?
what you
Who
get
appointed you
because
to the
that's a
board?
major achievement
Not too
for
sure.
the
You
restaurants
did.
to
Oh,
do.
I did?
So
Like
they want
many,
recognition.
like in 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been like longest running board member. I've been on it for I think like almost, what's that, 12 years?
Wow.
12, 13 years. It's been a while.
I don't know that getting politicians involved in this is going to motivate the people in the restaurants, and that's what you're trying to do, right? To
Yes.
motivate them.
Yeah, motivate
I mean,
them, you
that's
know.
fine, but I don't see the purpose of that.
Encourage good ecology practice.
Exactly.
That's what we're trying to do.
I think it's a great idea.
One paper straw at a time.
All right, I'll need a motion to
Motion to approve this initiative. and
Second.
thank you.
Second, and thank you as well.
Fantastic.
call a vote.
Vice Mayor Mitchell?
Yes.
Councilman Best?
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata?
Yes.
Councilman Pastrana?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
Well, since you brought it up, I gotta say yes. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a great
Thank
night.
you, ladies.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Wendy.
All right.
Look at Mikey gets all the help.
Mayor? 4A. 4A now? You're the baseball coach? Yeah, come on out. Mr. Fred Garcia, how are you?
Gonzalez. It's okay. I'm good. I'm great. I was sorry for my tardiness that we were doing our T-ball signups and evaluations today. Omar was covering for me, and I think I missed my spot by a few minutes. But that's what happens when you get 65 kids in T-ball to sign up. We've
Been there, done that.
yeah, I'm sure you have. My name's Fred Gonzalez. I'm a 4-year resident here, and last year we came up as the part of the new Miami Springs Little League board. This year I come up to you as not vice president but president. We had a little bit of a change, so but in the last I guess 2-3 seasons, I count summer, fall, and now spring, our numbers continue to grow, and we can't thank you enough for the city for the support that you lend us with the fields, with the rec center, and also helping us with your budget. So I just want to come here, thank you for that. Let you know that for this coming spring season, we already have about 203 kids already registered. It's more than we had last spring, so I like that trend. And I wanted to invite you all to our opening day. It's going to be on February 29th, on Leap Day, Saturday at 10 a.m. over at Prince Field. It's going to be a little different this year. It's going to feel more like a celebration of baseball. We really want to make it feel like not just come for the parade and a few things and then you go on to a game. But we really want to have a lot of activations there. We're hoping to get, the board is working really hard to get some surprises that I think will probably be pleasant to everyone. But we would love to have Councilman Best, if you want to give out the Little League Credo and the first pitch and play ball. That'd be like you've done in the past. I know you couldn't make it last year.
No, I couldn't. 29th, you're saying?
29th, Saturday the 29th at 10.
I'm down.
All right, good. We need that'd be great. That'd be great. And all of you all are welcome to come, and we'd love to honor and recognize you. And no, I just want to, like I said, open invite. Thank you so much. We've invited Virginia Gardens as well. And if there are any questions about the league, that'd be great. Otherwise, thanks so much for your time.
You got it. Do
All
a
right.
good job now.
Yeah.
Thanks, I will.
Winning season again.
Yeah, well, we have some teams that have been very successful out in Glades. I coach a team. We've won the summer league and the fall league, so we're hoping to go for a three-peat in the spring.
What's your background? You play ball?
Nope, never touched a baseball in my life. Just a lot of YouTube videos.
Some of your best coaches never touched a football.
That's a good point. That's a
some
good point.
Because they
Yeah.
see it fresh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have an opinion. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
I'll try to be there.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Let me know, or
And
let
I just
Omar know.
wanted to say that opening day, the colors of those teams, seeing all those different teams, the kids, is just like eye candy. It is so fun.
That's a lot of
and
fun.
It really is.
Well,
what a sight.
we want to top it. We're gonna make it even
Think
more
you can get
exciting.
Billy tomorrow back
Oh
in
yeah, for sure.
Fort?
Billy will be there. We want to get a lot of mascots
Good.
for sure, and some former players.
Good.
So that'd be great.
Try to get the catcher that signed a $74 million contract.
Is he not playing?
Yeah, he's playing.
Well, then
with the
how's
Chicago
he
White Sox.
how's he
gonna
gonna
be
make it?
upstate.
You talk- Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah.
That'd be
Get him.
great.
He needs to come
Can the
back to
city
Miami
fly him
Springs.
from Arizona?
He's got the money to fly himself. but that's
Mayor
what
will put
we'll
it in
do.
his tab.
I want to talk to him.
We'll work on it.
All right. Have
Okay.
a good night.
Thank you.
Fred, good luck, and thanks for grabbing the torch on that.
The Senate agenda, 9A and B.
This is a recommendation by Gulf that council authorize the issuance and/or execution of a purchase order to Jeffrey Allen, Inc., utilizing a cooperative purchase with U.S. Communities under contract EV 2671-01 attached in an amount not to exceed $11,456.70 for driving range picker as it was budgeted in the fiscal year 1920 budget. 9B is a recommendation by the Police Department that council approve an expenditure to Garber Chrysler Dodge Jeep, Inc., utilizing Florida State Contract 2510000-19-1, an amount of $35,496.65 for one 2020 Dodge Durango Pursuit all-wheel drive with emergency equipment included, as funds were budgeted in the fiscal year 1920.
Entertain a motion.
Through the chair, motion to move items 9A and 9B in accordance with funding in place.
I second.
Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, we go on to 11A, a resolution.
This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Springs, Florida, providing for the Second Amendment to the fiscal year 1920 General Fund budget to record lease proceeds and purchase of new equipment and improvement costs citywide, to record costs of the Westwood Tree Lighting Project and related donations for that project, providing for an effective date.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. 11A.
I'll second that.
Call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda,
Yes.
and Mayor Bain.
Yes, we go to B, resolution.
This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Miami Springs, Florida, encouraging the Florida Legislature to enact House Bill 829, sponsored by State Representative Brian Avila, prohibiting tolls and express lanes on State Road 826, Palmetto Expressway, providing for transmittal and providing for an effective date.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve 11B. And I just wanted to say I'm so impressed by.
Let me get a second.
Sorry.
Second.
I just
Okay,
wanted to say I'm
discussion.
impressed by Representative Avila and his
Well, first-
efforts to work on behalf of the residents.
Yeah, but
here.
he's got to get it through, though.
Well,
That's the
but
main thing.
he's really tackling
he's-
tough issues that
he is,
that
but-
mean a lot to us.
I understand, and I appreciate it too, but he's got to get it through, and we got to help him. Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Zapata,
Yes.
Councilman Petrolanda,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, we go to 11B, 12B, request by Mayor Bain to discuss the proposed legislations or
On
the
Airbnb.
Airbnb. I've had a few residents not confront me, but approach me about this situation of all I want is the particulars out of what Miami Springs can legislate or what they can't legislate. That's all. I mean, whatever's legal. If we can't do anything, but I wanted to put it into the public record of what the situation is.
Mayor and council, since we don't have an ordinance on the books that predates 2011, we are not able to legislate, regulate the location, duration, or frequency of Airbnb. So essentially, we can't restrict where they go, or for how long or how short they can be rented, or how often. There are municipalities that prior to 2011 got one on the books, and they can put restrictions, say you can't rent it for less than a week, or for less than a month, or more than 3 times a year. So we're like many other municipalities, I would say most municipalities across the state, and are left only creating what have been called sort of business rules or operating rules. Those vary from place to place, but essentially it's some kind of licensing paradigm where we require a certain number of conditions before issuing a license. That can be obtaining a business tax receipt. It can be registering with the state, the same way with the hotels division. It could be maintaining landlines, occupancy loads, fire extinguishers, requiring inspections. So there are things that can be done, but all we can do essentially is regulate them, and then and most places do charge fees for the licenses. If for nothing else, creating a licensing program, what it does is at least creates a repository of legal ones versus illegal ones, and then you can try and
well, with the council's permission, I would like him to come up with something that the other cities are doing, so that at least they're licensed and we have some kind of control over it. The other thing that they tell me that they're doing is, okay, a house goes up for rent. I'm just going to throw out a number. Let's say a house goes up for rent for $1,500 a month rent. People are coming in and say, I'm going to give you $200. I'm going to give you $2,500. So they take it over and then they do the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Can that be addressed? No.
No, I mean
Okay,
that's an inappropriate restriction on alienation of a property.
Okay.
But what I will say anecdotally is that it is exacerbating affordability situation, a housing
rent.
crisis, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's also happening on everything from single-family homes, multi-million-dollar homes, condos, all the like. We're seeing it everywhere.
All right. So with council consensus, we can at least come up with some kind of a license or some kind of a control. Does everybody agree?
Through the chair, a question for the counselor. Dan, inappropriate restriction on
Alienation, like
alienation.
How you decide to
I get
what
that.
you decide to do with your property?
I get,
Sell it off.
I get that.
Lease it off.
Yeah, I get that. But you mentioned early in your words on this that there's a period of time involved. You said 2011. Is that like a window or so? It has to have existed prior to that, or
yes,
or since that?
So 2011 is when the state of Florida preempted, in part, the Airbnb regulations.
So it's by virtue of legislation then?
Yeah.
Okay.
In 2014, they modified that further. I will say, just putting it out there, we applaud our senators and representatives when they do a good job. There is another preemption bill that's out there trying to further regulate. It is sponsored by Senator Diaz. And so every single year, municipalities have to battle back against further preemptions on the limited scope of authority we have to regulate them already.
Okay.
So let's see where that bill goes. But it's sort of every single year gets closer and closer to the finish line to further preempt municipalities that have the kind of rules that you want us to look at now.
Gotcha. Well explained. Thank you.
Mayor, I would just like to make one point also, if to add to the reason for the licensing at least. And I know I've gotten a lot of complaints, and I've talked to you about this, for the past year or two about this issue. And if nothing else, also so that when somebody is using their home as a short-term rental, and they're having a wild party, whatever's going on there, and the police responds, what happens is the people are just renting for the weekend, and we don't have a way to contact the owners and let them know, look, we had to call the police, because really the only ones that would know that there was the police response are the ones, that are renting the house short-term rental. So also to create like a database for us to be able to contact the owner and tell them, look, this is the second time in the past few months that we've sent police to your to your home on short-term rentals. If we can't regulate the short-term rentals, at least for us to have some control so that it's discreet and it doesn't impose problems for the other neighbors.
There are municipalities that have instituted some kind of 3 strikes and you're out type policy
Well,
where
you draw-
if you fail to obtain a license, if you advertise without having a license, if there's noise complaints that go unaddressed, and then after that they'd be banned for 6 months, a year, and then of course there are fines. I will say one other thing about fines. Somewhat notoriously, Miami Beach, I don't know if it was within the last 2 or 3 years, imposed some of the highest, if not the highest, fines for Airbnb or short-term rentals in the state. A lot of places have a $500 fine, $1,500 fine, $2,000 fine. Miami Beach was something exorbitant, like $20,000, $30,000. That was recently struck down. I think it's up for appeal. And the reason being that some municipalities have properties that fetch $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a night rentals. So if you have a $500 fine that you're accruing, even if it's daily, it's the cost of doing business. So I think that there should be commensurate fines with whatever you put on, enough to have teeth, but not enough to warrant a legal challenge that'll be costly for us. So
All right,
we'll put something together and bring it to you.
Bring it to us. You got consensus to work on it. Bring it on. All right, we go to a request by Mayor Bain to update on the senior center construction project. Where are we at there, City Manager?
I just want to
Pam's gonna
say
handle
that
this
the construction for the senior center, working with Stonehenge, has been very good. And we are still expected to open the facility or have the facility a grand opening at least by August or September. Hopefully the summer doesn't bring any bad weather for us, so that it'll prolong anything, but we are expected to still have a grand opening for that facility come August or September of this year. With that being said, I have a few photos up here. They're all pretty much aerials from when the project initiated to the demolition of the facility, all the way up to the point we were as of last week. So actually what you're looking at here is actually the old senior center along with the tot lot. Here's another side view of that. That's the actual property, the entire property demoed. Again, they're doing some of the grading area there. Some of the walls have gone up. And there's another aerial view. Some more walls.
Are we getting the aerial views from the contractor?
The contractor is doing their own aerial with drones, with their own drone. Several more walls there. So where the truck is, that'll be the front entrance of the facility, and over towards the baseball field, that long area there is going to be where the 2 exercise rooms are going to be divided. The foyer entrance is right there. Let's see.
West side.
Yeah, let me see. So right here is the foyer entrance. This right here is the actual, will be the offices. This right here is going to be one of the classrooms here. Then this is going to be the main lobby area here. Back here is another classroom. Back here is going to be the kitchen area. And then this main room right here is going to be the dining hall. The back here is a generator room, and back here is the porch area overlooking the tot lot.
Through the chair, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong on this, the tot lot, I noticed there's elements of the tot lot along the fence there on the south side. Is that going to be reset up in the back part of the property to the east of the building?
That's if you pass by there now.
Right.
The tot lot is almost laid out already.
Right.
They're putting the rubber surface in probably this week or next week, and we believe the tot lot is going to reopen probably sometime in February again for everyone to use. So
Okay, so it'll be open before the the project's finished then?
Well before the project was
Oh,
finished.
okay. Thank you. Thanks.
So here we have some more walls going up. Now you start to see some of the divisions.
And a big crane out there today.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crane out there today
But
was
the roof-
pumping the
Pumping the
concrete
roof.
for the roof.
Yeah, the roof is being pumped today.
There it is.
So there you go. That's some of the roofing material that's being put up there.
There's your tot lot, Bob.
Yeah,
Councilman.
yeah. It was along the fence on the south side
Yeah.
originally. That's
But
where I
there's
saw
some
it,
new
yeah.
rides in there too.
Yeah, good.
I mean, not rides.
We paid a fee for that, right? We paid there was a small thing or something. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking.
To have it dismantled and then re-put the.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then there. Here's a nice angle of the tot lot right there. Those were the roofs that were being poured. So this front section right here is the area, the front entrance. Like I said, that's the two fitness rooms. This is the main office areas, reception area. This long section is that higher section that'll be built later on. Back here is the dining area, the kitchen area, and then the patio area. And then this is the classrooms, the other additional classrooms.
Appeared to be making pretty good progress with it.
Looking good. I go by every day. I sleep there sometimes.
Do you? Do you?
Oh. All right, and then that's the little bit better view of the tot lot as well. And I think that's it.
Good.
That's looking nice.
Very nice.
That was,
You know-
and those were as of last week.
Yeah. As it's going up, I see it. It's bigger than what I thought it was going to be. I know the square footage, but when you see it in person, it looks bigger than I thought it was going to be. But
Yeah.
it fits there. It's fitting perfect to me.
Yeah. Thanks, Mayor, for bringing it to the agenda tonight.
You got it.
Do we have, Mayor, a target date for, I know it was supposed to be this summer, are we
He
still
said
kind
February,
of-
February, March,
Okay, I didn't hear that.
September,
August or
Depends
September.
on
August,
what-
September.
August,
Depends on the
okay.
weather.
August,
Depends
September.
on summer weather now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's depending on.
So William, where did you
August,
get the
September.
William? Where did you get the drone to take the pictures?
They have it.
Yeah.
We all drone now?
No, the
The
company.
contractor.
Oh, the
The contractor does
Del
their
Mayo.
own drone pictures.
My
He
nephew,
comes out once a month and flies his little drone over there and takes pictures.
my nephew's licensed to do that kind of stuff.
Is
Oh
it?
yes.
Yeah. He's living
Should
Why
in,
we?
doesn't-
Should we?
why-
Should,
he's
should
in
we?
Texas now, but
Why doesn't the city have a drone? Because when you talk about, like the code enforcement stuff, with all of these streets that have no alleys and things like that.
I don't know if that's.
So when,
legal.
well, when somebody goes to buy a house, and everything in the back of the house was done with no permits and it's totally concreted in, isn't that a problem?
well,
I know real estate agents use that, but I don't think it's a good idea for code enforcement.
People shoot it down.
I think it benefits our city.
No, it's not permissible. If we've gone to classes and we can't, if there's a 6-foot fence, we can't overlook
Right.
over.
yeah, there's privacy issues.
And when we do a reoccupancy
Literally.
inspection, we take our code enforcement hats out, we put our reoccupancy inspection in when a property is for sale, and if we see something, we cannot do anything about it
Yeah.
at that time.
Mayor, I spoke to chief, police chief regarding. I think the police should have a drone, because of the cost of a good drone. It kind of puts it out of our reach. But we did speak to Medley Police, and they're willing to lend it to us in case we have an emergency. We can borrow theirs. They have a really nice one.
But they would have to operate it.
What do you mean?
You
who's
have
gonna
to be
operate it?
approved by the FAA to operate a drone.
That's correct.
Well, I mean, this is
That's
the
it.
police department.
Yeah, but you still have
Yeah, you
to
still
have
gotta go through the
qualified
Fed.
I
operator.
understand. I'm
FAA,
saying in
yeah.
case there's an emergency where we need a drone, we have
Right.
a way of I'm not done.
Put about a drone on the next agenda. We're here talking about the community center. That's what I wanted to highlight. If you want to put about a drone or
No.
something, put on the next agenda for discussion. Is that what you guys want to
Go
do?
ahead and do that.
No,
I
Yeah.
know
I don't
he's
want
al-
to discuss
He's
it
already mentioned
on.
it before, and I've talked to the chief, and
Yeah.
the chief.
Put on the next agenda. We'll discuss and we'll put Jaime on the drone.
You're not gonna put me on the drone.
No, well,
well, I mean,
operate it.
Manly's drone is big enough to put the mayor on the drone.
well, they may do, but
City attorney, anything from you?
No, Mayor, for those of you going, I'll see you up in days.
Okay, have a good time up there. Okay, do a lot of work.
Always.
Do a lot of work. Okay, we got city manager. Anything from you guys?
Nothing, Mayor?
Nothing tonight.
Nope.
I have two events, if I just want to remind everybody. So I want to remind everybody, we're really trying to get families to join in for family afternoon fun and game, board games. So the next board game event is February 8th. It's on a Saturday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at the community center. So they're really trying to push that at the community center. And also, I think I was told today that there are 15 campsites that have already been booked for the rec campout. So we really want to try to get that going and pushed.
how many
for-
total, Tammy?
I don't know how many in total, but I do know that there's been 15 already reserved.
Okay.
15 spaces. So that's for January 31st through overnight to February 1st. And it's $20 per family of 4. Can't beat that. And again, you'd have to register with the Parks and Rec.
And that's just going to be at Prince Field, like
That's
last
at
year?
Princefield like last year.
Are we going to have, because I kind of promised them all, are we going to have a campfire? You know the circular fire pit
Yeah.
on the clay?
Mhm.
Would be no
wouldn't hurt
fire
the field,
hazard
right.
because there's nothing to burn, so they can roast their marshmallows and things like that?
I can ask Omar.
We can check with Omar.
Yeah, see what we can do about that. 'Cause that was a nice thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't so warm. I just slept on the grass too with them. It was pretty neat.
Okay. Well, just encouraged. We have, like I said, they've registered. There's been 15 tents
Good.
registered. So
That's
they'd
a
like
neat-
to
That's a
really
neat thing.
to get it.
Anything from Councilman Petrolanga tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Anything from Councilwoman Zapata?
No.
No. Anything from Councilwoman Mitchell?
Oh, come on. That's a silly question.
No, it's.
I would have said this last week, but I know we were rushing out to see some football games.
All right, all right, all right.
This Sunday too, Phil?
Yeah, but we don't have a meeting, though.
I heard your party's going to be at. You're going to have a Super Bowl party. We're all invited.
Are we invited?
It's a party? At your house?
Just wanted to say that I didn't get to say it last week because there's some football games.
The game?
But that I'm looking forward to, last year I think we had a really productive year, and I just wanted to say that it's a privilege working with all of you. I know we don't always agree on everything, like me, but it is a really big privilege to work with all of you, for the betterment of our city, and I'll be at game day next week.
Thank you. Anything from Councilman Best?
Just to echo Councilwoman Mitchell or Vice Mayor Mitchell, we'll be up there as well next week. So we had a couple of the boards mentioned tonight 2 or 3 times over our deliberations. And I'd just like to mention that I'm sure all my colleagues read all the board minutes that are given to us 4 or 5 times a week sometimes about the work. And I just got to tell you, some of the good work and some of the good dialogue and discourse that I'm seeing with these boards all of a sudden, which I haven't seen in a couple of years. And I'm pleased to see that. And I was glad to see that one board come in front of us tonight under forum and bring that point. That's good for the city. Good stuff.
Thank you.
That's it. Have a good 2 weeks, everybody.
I got the Optimist Club on Saturday from 12 to 8. They're having their annual stone claws, shrimp, the tuna, the yellowfin tuna. They did a real good. They had a real nice turnout last year before the Super Bowl. You always can buy your claws for the next day, keep them fresh. They need some help over there as far as people going to go see them and come up by it. We had a good time. Sometimes there's alcohol.
Sometimes.
And I do the Kraken, and so it's a lot of fun. And I hope that everybody can get the word out and get some people over there. They need the money to help to support the club. And with that, this meeting's adjourned.
Willie.
No. We're gonna send it to Wally to put on it.